Shalom, Israel.
Yes, bro.
We are I.S.U.P.K out of 1 West 125th Street, New York. The commanding Gen.YAHANNA. I'm Priest Officer Yakad. Today is our Sabbath service according to the Most High. We also have Priest Officer.
So, Allah.
Right, and we are about to begin today's Sabbath service. Say Madhyam, which means to stand. Yes, please, on that side. So, like publishing the later on. Let's put that on one side. What's priest?
Bariat, ban Banyam, ban Yashala.
Bariat, ban Yam, ban Yashala.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushai Brakatum.
Yahweh Hashem Yashai Barakitab.
La Shala, Israel.
Say margin again, which means to stand. When you have put down, which means to rise and face the east. South, which means to turn. We're going to say the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Abba, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Kiyah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakotka, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Kiyah, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Kiyah, Washemayim, Yatandanawa, Malakam, Abiyanawa, Manasaya once, Above, Oashinawa, Mayan, Rad, Kiyah, Alaka, Amalakwa, Ala, Tapara, Iwalami, Aman.
In the English, our Father, God in heaven,
be thy name,
power,
the kingdom come, that will be done in earth, as in heaven.
Daily bread,
Daily bread.
Forgive us our debts.
We forgive our debtors. Lead us not.
Forever.
So be it. We're going to say Hakka, Rafa'a, Kama the walk, Hakka, Rataha, Amat is the right, Hakka, Hakoyam, Amatayam, Mata'al, Nagarashan, Hashem, Yahushai, the Wada Aman. All man of sickness, all man of disease, or to cleanse the leper, or to raise the dead, or against some peace spirits, cast them off. You must be Yahushai. Thank you. So be it. We're going to say the blessings. Barakatah Yahweh, Wa Yahushai, Wa Maka'al, Wa Alahai, Wa Zabia, Wa Yahan, Ha Alwapia, Ha Saranya, Ha Quatazanya, Ha Penyelenia, Wa Akwatya, Yahweh, Wa Hashem, Yahushai, the Wada Aman.
In the English, bless your house.
Bless your house, and Yahushai, and Michael, and angels, commanding generals, captains, officers, troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, name of Yahushai. Thank you. So be it. We're going to say, bless Israel. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Barak Nara, Yasha'ala, Wahabiyah, Sapari, Rak, Rapah, Magan, Bahashem, Yahushai, Wahamah.
In English, Yahweh,
Yahweh, in the name of
Yahushua,
Yahushua, bless us,
and Israel,
and the school,
bless,
heal,
shield, protect our love,
protect your love, in the name of Yahushua. Thank you. So be it. Psalm 121 Hebrew, Asha'ah, Ayan, Al-Hariyah, Ayan, Yaba'ah, Azariah, Ayan, Yahweh, Yeshua, Shemayim, Wa'arataza, Ayatam, Lamawa, Wagalka, Ayanawa, Shemarka, Kana, La'a, Yanawam, La'a, Yeshun, Shawama, Masha'al, Yahweh, Shemarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Ayah, Yayanka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'a, Yakaka, Wayara, Alayala, Yahweh, Shemarka, Yakaira, Yeshua, Afna Shukat, Yahweh, Yeshua, Kaza Ahafka, Wawaka, Ayata, Ma'id, Iwalam.
Psalms 121 in English. I will lift up my eyes.
I will lift up my eyes
unto the hills.
Unto the hills.
From whence come my
From
help?
whence cometh my help?
My help comes from Yahweh.
My help comes from
Which made
Yahweh,
heaven and earth.
which made heaven and
He will
earth.
not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that
He
keepeth
will
thee
not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Israel.
he that keepeth Israel
will neither slumber
shall
nor
not
sleep.
slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade.
Yahweh is thy shade.
Upon thy right hand.
Upon thy right
The
hand.
sun shall not smite thee
The
by
sun
day.
shall not smite thee by day.
Nor the moon by night.
Nor the moon by
Thou
night.
shalt preserve thee from all
Thou
evil.
shalt preserve thee from all
He
evil.
shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out.
Thou shalt preserve thy
And
going
thy
out.
coming in.
And thy coming
From
in.
this time forth.
From this time
Even
forth.
forevermore.
Even forevermore. Psalm 83 in Hebrew, Arahayim, Alta Mayalaka, Alta Karash, Alta Shokwa, Alta Yahanna, Wayabika, Wayayaka, Rahama Yawan, Rapash, Ayamaka, Ara Yawan, Sawadah, Wayata, the Aitazawa, Ayatazapawan, Amaro, Wakao, Wanayakadam, Wagawi, Wala'a, Zaka, Shamia Sha'al, Wada, Kaya, Waitazawa, Waba, Yakaro, Ayaka, Baria, Yakarato, Ahalia, and the one, Wayashamai Alayam, Wawaba, Wabarai, Wabal, I'm one, I'm a lot, Alisha, I'm a Shabi, Gazawo, Gam Ashawo, Wanawa, I'm Ayawa, Zarawa, Banyalawa, Sela, Aishalahan, Kamanya, Asayasara, Kayabya, Wanaka, Koyashma, Mashamado, Ba'ayan, the Ira, Ayawa, Dama, Adama, Shayatama, Nadaya Mawa, Kaira, Kazaba, Wakata Zamanai, Kama Sayakamo, Asha, Amaro, Nayarasha, Yanawa, Awa, Ahat, Alahaya, Shayatamo, Tagalgal, Takwash, Lafanera Waka, Ash, Taba Ira, Wakalahama, Talahat, Arayam, Kantara Dafma, Wasaraika, Wabasa, Patka, Tabahala, Wala'a, Wanyaham, Walawan, Wayabakwashu, Shamka, Yahweh, Yabashua, Waya, Baharu, Adi, Waya, Kaparu, Waya, Kabadu, Waya, Dayu, Kayahata, Shamka, Yahweh, Labaka, Ayawan, and Kaha, Rataza.
Psalms 83 in the English. Keep not thou silent.
Keep not thou silent.
O Yahweh.
O
Thy peace.
Hold thy peace.
Be not still.
And be not still. O Yahweh. For lo, thy enemies make it to mock. And they that hate have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, let's cut them off from being a nation. In the name of Israel, there be no more remembrance. They have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against the tabernacles of Edom. and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarites, Gebal, Ammon, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre, Assyria, also joined with them. They have hold of the children of God, Selah, do unto them, as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, and the brook of Israel, was perished at them. They became as dung, make their nobles, like warriors, like Zee, yea, all their princes, as Yah, as Onuna, who said, let us take to ourselves the house of Yahweh in possession, whom my power, make them like a wheat, and stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, as the flames into the mountains of fire, so persecute them with thy tempest, make them afraid with thy storm, fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Yahweh, let them be confounded, and trouble forever, yea, let them be put to shame, and perish, and that men may know, that thou, his name alone is Yahweh, and the Most High over all the earth. Blessed are you, Yahweh, King of heaven, and all things living, Yahweh, the name of Yahweh. Listen to us now, right? The evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the heathen, speak against us, thy prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, Israelite brothers, the evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the heathen, I shake loose treasure of the rich of Israel, and refuse to give to the cause their riches, enter into thy sanctuary, and evils and curses, and punishment and destruction to the Edomites, and the nations, and their drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of Ireland, Roman synagogues and Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Syrian nation, skinheads, gay movement, lesbian, spies, because of witchcraft, NASA space program, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Wall Street, open up the internet, and the air, cable access channel, and the radio channel, convict the spirit, of any of thy people, that seek to stop us, and bring swift destruction, all the heathen, that stand in the way, try to stop us, or casting your words, over the planet, lose all the plagues, cause them to go to and fro, through the earth, consume them, and the plagues, take the house of the thief, and the murder, like Yahweh, Michael, Gabriel, come down with the flying sword, punish all the heathen that come up against us, as we speak thy word, cause it to be known by all, that is the angels that have done it, cause it to be spread through the whole media, throughout the whole world, cause it to shake at thy coming, in the name of Yahweh. Thank you always. So be it. Sir, your Shabbat which may still be seated. Today we will continue reading in the book of Numbers. For the book of Numbers, chapter 10 and verse 8. Bobanya Yethakwa Iwa Bakataza Tazarawat Wahayewa Lakam Lakakwath Iwalam Ladarathi Yakam. Verse 9. Wakaya Tabaawa Malakalma, Ba'arat Zakam, Al, Hatazar, Hatazarara, Hatazarara, Tamakam, Wahara Aitam, Bakataza, Tazarath, Wanaza Karatham, Lapanya, Yahawa, Alahayakam, Wanawa Sha'aitam, Ma'aya Bayakam. Verse 10. Wabayawam Shamakata Wabama Salake Wabama Wa'ai the Yakam Wabara Ashaya Kadashakam Watakwa Aitam Bakataza Taraf Salakia Bakataza Zara Al Aitayakam Wa'al Zabakaya Shalashyamka Salakia Shalah Yamka Wahakayawa Lakam Lazaka Rawan Labanya Ahaliakam Anaya Yapawa Alahayakam. Verse 11. Wayahaya Bashawan Hashanayaka Hashanayatha Bakadash Hashanaya Ba'aisha Sharayam Ba'aishirayam Bakadash and Naalia Ha'ainana Ma'al Mashakan Ha'aida. Verse 12. Wayasaiwa Banya Yasha'ala Lamasa Ay Yaham Mamadaba Sayaniya Wayashanaka Ha'ainana Bamadaba Pa'aran. Verse 13. Wayasa Aywa Barashana Al Fayad Yahweh Fayad Masha. Verse 14. Wayasai the God Banya Yahawada Bara'ashana Latazaba Adatham Wa'al Tazaba Awa Nakashanawa Ban Aymaya Nayada Selaki Aymanayada na Ayma Yanada. That's it.
The book of Numbers 10 and verse 8. And the son of Aaron, the priests, shall blow with the trumpet, and they shall be to you for an ordinance forever throughout your generations. And if ye go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpets, and ye shall be remembered before the Most High, your power, and ye shall be saved from.
Yeah.
Go
Here, as we continue, to read through
our records, and and what we see now, everything now coming to pass, as the Most High continue to lead us, through the wilderness. And at this point in time, as the reminder was brought, and as the brothers was bringing out, last reading, concerning, with these trumpets to be sounded, and to bring the warning. And as we see in verse 9, he said, and if we go to war in your land against the enemy that oppress you, then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpets, and ye shall be remembered before the Most High your power, and ye shall be saved from your enemies. So, what we're looking at, at that time, given the instructions that been passed down, from Moses, and given unto Aaron again, and the priesthood at that time. And if we go to, where we are now, the priesthood, the I.S.U.P.K under command of Gen.YAHANNA, as we are again at present in the land of our enemies, and we continue to bring the alarm, and to blow the trumpet, and to bring the warning, and to ask the Most High to have favor on us, in this captivity. We continue again to remind brothers and sisters how important, these Sabbath services, these reminders are a new, understanding, and, coming back to your recognition of who we are, your identity. And as we read, this is our history. And we see, as we say, as we reading from our history, we go into the details at what was, taken part, or taken a toll on our nation at that time, and by following instructions, from the person in charge, which was Moses, and passing on, to the other priests, to the priests, which was the Levitical priesthood at that time.
Yeah, sure. So we continue the reading in the book of Numbers, chapter 10 and verse 15. Wa'al, Tazaba'a, Mata'a, Banya, Yashasha, Kara, Nathan Na'ala, Ban, Tazawa Ira, verse 16. Wa'al, Tazaba'a, Mata'a, Banya, Zabalawan, Alaya Abba, Ban, Kalan, verse 17. Wahawa Rad, Amashakan, Wanasa Iwa, Banya, Garashawan, Wabanya, Mararaya, Nasha'aya, Amashakan, verse 18. Wanasai, Dagal, Makana, Ra'awa Ban, Latazaba Aftam, Wa'al, Tazaba'awa, Alaya Tazawa, Ban, Shadaya Awa, Salakia, Shadaya Awa, verse 19. Wa'al, Tazaba'a, Mata, Banya, Shema'ai 1, Shalam Ya'ala, Ban, Tazawa Araya Shadaya, verse 20. Wa'ai, Tazaba'a, Mata, Banya, Gad, Aliyasap, Ban, Idawa Allah. Verse 21. Wanasa Iwa. Hakwa Hasayam. Nasha Aya. Hama Kodash. Wahakwa Yamawa. Hamashakan. Amma. Okay.
The book of Numbers 10 and verse 15. And over the host of the tribe of the children of Issachar was Nathaniel, son of Zuar. And over the host of the tribe of the children of Zebulun was Eliab, the son of Helon. And the tabernacle was taken down, and the sons of Jeshon, the sons of Merari, set forward bearing the tabernacle, and the standard of the camp of Reuben sent forward according to their armies. And over his host was Elizu, the son of Shediah. And over the host of the tribe of the children of Simeon was Shelumiel, the son of Zuri Shaddai. And over the host of the tribe of the children of Gad was Eliasa, the son of DL. And the Kohathites set forward bearing the sanctuary, and the other did set up the tabernacle against the king.
That's it. So again, once more we see him where in the wilderness, right? You see where before the children of Israel went out to start their journey, to start moving, the Most High took some time to prepare the nation of Israel, right? So he took that time, he sat down in a particular part in Sinai in the wilderness, and when they were there, he taught them all what they need to do in assembling the tabernacle, in forming up themselves in ranks, in putting men over the different tribes and setting up an entire system, an entire society. You understand? Before they started to go out and do what they need to do and give them instructions on what they needed to do. Right? This will be no different than when our King Yahushua comes down. Right. When that time of judgment day comes, we'll be set in the wilderness. You understand? Where we'll be trained, where will we be prepared, and then we will set out to do that hunting that the Most High promised us that we will be able to do at that time when we're bringing into subjection the rest of the nations or the remnants of the nations at that time of judgment. And if you are anything?
Point with again. This is again, as the Most High mentioned, is a man of war.
Right.
And as you see everything being set up, and just as we say, we saw it from in the beginning of Numbers.
Right.
Like as you say, name them like you see that the Father.
Right.
He set everybody in that order. As it comes to pass, now they reach the point now. Now you see that whole structure coming into play.
Right.
That whole, formation, and who will be on the east and who will be on the west, who will take charge and everything in the place. And this is what we're reading about. And this is, again, without that structure and without, that righteous leadership, this is where, as we say, as a nation, as a people, where we are today. But again, as has brought up, that structure is being rebuilt. And that structure is being rebuilt in the I.S.U.P.K. under Commander General, headed by our King Yahushua and the Most High, in that structure, the rank order, Pastor.
Okay. And so, like, just to touch on one more thing before we move on. When we look at in terms of the Hebrew and understanding, the Hebrew language is part of our culture. That is who we are as a people, right? And we're looking at the word standard, right? A standard is something that is set. It's like a mark. You understand? And each tribe had their particular mark. Just as how we know we have Judah, his standard or his signet or his symbol is the lion. Then we have Benjamin, which is the wolf, right? Then we have all the other tribes. We have Gad, we have I.S.U.K, right, which is the donkey, right? We have Ephraim, see he's fruitful. We have Naphtali, I think Naphtali is the hind, right? So each tribe have their particular standard, right? I think God is the axe. You understand? So each tribe have their so-called seal or standard, right? That they would use to identify themselves and their family, right? And the Hebrew word for standard is the gal, right? The gal is the Hebrew word for standard in the ancient Hebrew. That's I just want to add that. So we continue reading in the book of Numbers chapter 10 and verse 22. When I say I, Gadal, Makana, Banya, Aparayam, Latazatam, Atam, Ba'ai, Tazaba'awa, Alaya, Salakia, Allah Yashayim, Salakia, Allah Yashamai, Ban, Aimaya Hawad, verse 23, Wa'al, Tazaba'a, Mata, Banya, Manasha, Gamalaya Allah, Banya, Padaha Tazawo, verse 24, Wa'al, Tazaba'a, Mata, Banya, Banaya Man, Abayadan, Ban, Gada Aishanaya, verse 25, Wanasa'ai, Gadal, Salakia, Dagal, Makana, Banya, Dan, Maasak, Lakal, Hamakanah, Latazaba Atham, Ba'al, Tazaba'awa, Akaya Aizar, Ban, Aimaya Shadaya, verse 26, Wa'al Tazaba'a, Ma'ata, Banya, Asha, Paga'ai Ya'ala, Ban, Aikana, verse 27, Wa'ai, Tazaba'a, Mata, Banya, Naphtaliya, Akayara'ai, Ban, Ayanana, verse 28, Alaha, Masa'aya, Ban, Yasha'ala, Lataza Ba'atam, Wayasa Aiwa. Continue.
The book of Numbers 10 and verse 22. And the standard of the camp of the children of Ephraim set forward according to their armies, and over his host was Elishama, the son of Ammihud, and over the host of the tribe of the children of Manasseh was Gamiel, the son of Pedazu, and over the host of the tribe of the children of Benjamin was Abdan, the son of Gideoni. And the standard of the camp of the children of Dan set forward, which was the reward of all the camps throughout their hosts. And over the host was Eleazar, the son of Ammishaddai, and over the host of the tribe of the children of Asher was Pagiel, the son of Okran, and over the host of the tribe of the children of Naphtali was Ahira, the son of Enan. These were the journeyings of the children of Israel according to their armies when they set forward.
In previous chapters, talking about the structure of the nation of Israel, whenever they would go out, whether they were moving from one area to the next, or whether they were going out to fight against the enemies. This is just a list of the tribes, or the sectors of the tribes, each prince or captain that was responsible for each tribe at that point in time. Have you had anything, sir?
Just add again as when brought out in reminder that that it's showing that all tribes is needed, and that's why again Commandant General Yahanna is making that plea that all brothers in these again religious organizations or say faith camps come back, because now is a calling, because our king again will not return our one tribe, not
right.
being a part of as we say, that brother, because these is 12 brothers as we say. And these brothers stick together, and it's showing you again that none was left behind. None was left behind. And again, you see the structure of the army of the nation of Israel. Right?
Muslim Christ. So we continue reading the book of Numbers, chapter 10 and verse 29. Wayama, Masha'a, Masha, Lakababa, Ban, Ra'ai, Wa'ala, Hamadaya, Naya, Katan, Masha, Masaayam, Anaya, Kanawa, Allah, Amakawam, Asha, Amar, Yahweh, Atawa, Atan, Lakam, Laka, Tanawa, Awatabanawa, Laka, Kaya, Yahweh, the Ba, Tawar, I, Yasha'ala, verse 30, ويأمار أهاليوا لآ ألكا فيا أما الله Aratazaya wa Allah Mawalada Yataya Alaka, verse 31, wa Yamar Allah Na'a Ta'izab Atanawa Kaya Ay Khan Kaya Ay Ya Da'aita Kanatanawa Bamadaba Wahaya Ya Lanawa La'ai Yanawam Salakia La'ai Yanayam, verse 32, Wahayaha Kaya Talak Aimanawa Wahaya Ha Tawab Ahawa Asha Yayata Yab Yahawa Aimanawa Wahata Banawa Lakal, verse 33, Wayasa Aiwa Maha Yahawa Darak Shalash Shalashata Yam Wa Arawan Ba'ataya Baryak Yahawa Nasa'ai Lapan Yaham Darak Shalasha Yam Latawo Laha Manawaka, verse 34, Wa Ainana Yahawa Ila Yaham Wa Yamama Banasa Aima Man Hamakan, verse 35, Wa Yahaya Banasai Hakahan Salakia Ha'aran Wa Ya'ama Masha Kwawaha Waya Nasawa Mashana Ayaka Ma Panakaya Salakia Mapa Nayaka. Right?
The book of Numbers 10 and verse 29. And Moses said unto Hobab, the son of Raguel, the Midianite, Moses' father-in-law, we are journeying unto the place of which the Most High said, I will give it. You come thou with us, and we will do thee good, for the Most High hath spoken good concerning Israel. And he said unto him, I will not go, but I will depart to my own land, and to my kindred. And he said, Leave us not, I pray thee, for as much as thou knowest how we are to encamp in the wilderness, and thou mayest be to us instead of eyes. And it shall be, if thou go with us, yea, it shall be that what goodness the Most High shall do unto us, the same will we do unto thee. And they departed from the mount of the Most High 3 days' journey, and the ark of the covenant of the Most High went before them. in the 3 days journey to search out a resting place for them, and the cloud of the Most High was upon them. By day when they went out of the camp. And it came to pass, when the ark set forward, that Moses said, Rise up, the Most High, and let thine enemies be scattered, and let them that hate thee flee before thee.
Yeah. So again, and as we get more into, understanding what is taking place here, because as we see coming out of Egypt, as again, it had among the nation, as we say, as the scripture make mention, people of other nations. And as Moses now making mention here, to his brother-in-law, and he say in verse 29, and Moses said unto Hua, the son of Rahu, the Midianite, Moses' father-in-law, right? We are journeying unto the place which the Most High said, right? And I will give it to you. Come thou with us, and we will do thee good. For the Most High hath spoken good concerning Israel. Because now Moses now explaining to him now, hey, if you stick amongst us, and as we read on down, whoever in our path or whoever come up against us, the Most High, as we say, will be at peace with you, because now again, you're not against the children of Israel or the chosen people, because why? He with us. Now again, the Most High never intend for us to be, as we say, together with these other nations. Now we're going to see, as we read and make mention, that in verse 50, but he said unto him, I will not go, but I will depart to my own land and to my own kindred. And it show you again that when we keep on reminding Black Hispanics and Native Indians concerning that the Most High never intend for us, as we say, to join with these other nations, or to be a part of these other nations. Now you see here now, as we say, Moses and the Lord again from tribe and Levi, asking they see them, and now we see that in return, now making mention, hey, I will return to my own kindred, to my own people. So now, just as it was written before, as we say in previous readings, that the Most High separated again each and every nation into their own land, and they know who they are. So now, being amongst again us, they would not feel again that sense comfort, because they already know that they are not us. And that is why again, as we see all that is taking place, again throughout the society, and what is that there is a total separation in these realms. And these nations already know who they are, and they already know who we are. Right?
No, that's it. So we continue reading in the book of Numbers chapter 10 and verse 36. Wabanaka Ya'amah Washan Shawab Yahweh Rabawak Lapanya Yash'al. The book of Numbers chapter 11 and verse 1. Wayahaya Ha'aima Kamath Anaya Salakia. Kamath Ananayam Ra'ai Ba'azanaya Yahweh Wayashamai Yahweh Wayakara Apawa Wath Ba'ira Bam Asha Salakia Ash Yahweh Wath Akal Bakwataza Hamakana Nistu Wayataza Aiwa Salakia Wataza Salakia Waya Taza Aipa Ha'aima Al Salakia Allah Masha Wayata Palala Masha Allah Yahweh Was Shakwa Ai Ha'asha Restraint Waya Kora'a Sham Hamakwa Hawakwawam Hahawa Taba'ira Kaya Ba'ira Bam Ash Yahweh Wahasap Sap Asha Bakwa Labawa Hata'awa Wa'awa Waya Shabawa Waya Bakawa Gam Banya Yasha'ala Waya Amma Salakia Waya Amarwa Maya Ya Akal Wanawa Basha. Verse 5. Zachariah Noah Hadagal Salakia Hadagal Asha Naakal Bamatazarium Kanam Hakwash Ayam Wa'atha Ha'abba Takayam Wa'atha Hakatazaraya Wa'atha Habatazalayam Wa'atha Hashawa Mayam is 6. Wa'aitha Napashanawa Yabasha Ayan Kal Balataya Allah Aman Ayana Noah. That's it.
Book of Numbers 10 and verse 36. And when it rested, he said, Return, O Lord, unto the many thousands of Israel. Verse 11 and verse 1. And when the people complained, it displeased the Most High, and the Most High heard it, and his anger was kindled, and the fire of the Most High burnt amongst them, and consumed them that were in the utmost parts of the camp. And the people cried unto Moses, and when Moses prayed unto the Most High, the fire was quenched. And he called the place Ni-Ti-Era, because the fire of the Most High burnt amongst them, and the mixed multitude that was among them fell a lusting, and the children of Israel also wept again, and said, Who shall give us flesh to eat? We remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely, the cucumbers and the melons and the leeches and the onion and the garlic. But now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all besides this manna before our eyes.
Mm-hmm. Salakia. I mean, you see now, once more, as we continue to read, one of the hallmark traits of the nation of Israel is that sometimes we forget who the Most High Power is. You understand? And because of that, we start to go back, into the, as we would say, the dirty, stinking ways that we used to be. You understand? Sometimes the Most High save us out of these places, save us out of the hands of our enemies. And yet still we want to, go back to that familiar place. That place, filled with sin and full of regret and full of loss. But, it's something that, the Most High continue to show us and scold us for that. Just as now, when we come out of a life of sin, because sin was so sweet and so enticing, it's easy to say, well, boy, I'm missing this thing I used to do. I'm missing the revelry or carnival. I'm missing the wine and jam, not knowing that it's death and destruction that the Most High saved us from. And because the Most High saw the children of Israel complaining about all this stuff that they loved in Egypt, you understand? And they can't take a little hardship for a while, for a season. They cannot, fight their flesh. And because of that, they were grieved in their spirit to go back into Egypt, to lust after the things that they had in Egypt. So I don't know if you add anything, sir.
Again, this will always be a reminder, the blacks, Hispanics, and the Ethiopians. And again, the reminder that you being amongst these Edens and learning the ways and learning the customs, you will always again lust after that thing that suffices or pleases your flesh. And it shows, as you say, reading this into the scripture, as we see their mindset was that they say on thing to eat. The melon, the cucumber, the scripture has to be mentioned. Because now again, they know feeling that just as we say, and I see that comfort. And again, not knowing that the Most High is the provider, not understanding that the Most High have been looking over the nation or the children of Israel since again that we went into Egypt. Since from that time that He brought us out of the captivity of Egypt, and still up to the day He's still looking over us. And this is what will always be a reminder, because why? Because of our lost soul desire, and because again our interracial marriages, and because again dwindling and mixing and mingling with these heathens. This is why again it will always drive the Most High to that anger and be displeased with us, because why? He had set laws, commandments, and statutes before us to follow. And by not following this, He will always, just like any good father, leaving instructions when the children will follow, there's a punishment towards that. And this is again more reading about history, about our people you know, again, at one time, as he said, so supposed to be in that seat of righteousness. And now because that again intermixing, forget who the Most High is. Right?
Most in Christ. And just want to add one more thing before we continue. We continue to see at the beginning of our chapter where because of the anger of the Most High, he burnt the camp or the outer part of the camp with fire.
Yeah.
And as we know, when them chariots in here up there and realize and the complaints start, the Most High did his work. You understand? And burned. You understand? On the outer camp just to let them know, what you all can really complain for. You understand? And when you look at again the understanding of the Hebrew and how much our language has impacted the overall language of the entire world, and knowing that the Hebrew is the original language. You understand? When we look at the word fire, the word for fire in the Hebrew is ash. And the word ash still is used today in English to represent something being burnt or the remnants of something being burnt. You understand? So the Hebrew word for fire is ash. Right? And that is very important for us to understand. How much of the so-called language today stems from the ancient Hebrew that we have. Right? So let's just continue. In the book of Numbers chapter 11 and verse 7. Wahaman, Kazarai, Gad, Hawa'a, Wa'aya Nawa, Ka'ainaya, Habada Laka, was 8, Shatawa, Ha'aima, Walakwa Tawa, Watakanawa, Barakaya, Awa, Dakawa, Bamadaka, Wabashalawa, Bapa Rawa'a Salakia, Bapa Rawa'ara Salakia, Bapa Ra'awa, Wa'aishanawa, Atawa, Aigawa, Wahaya, Ta'ai Mawa, Kata Aima, Lashada, Hashaman was 9, Wabarada, Hatal, Al, Hamakan, Layalaha, Yarad, Haman, Al Yawa was 10, Wayashamai, Masha, Ha'aima, Baka, Lamasha, Pakata Yawa, Ayash, Lapataka, Ahalewa, Wayaka, Apa, Yahawa, Ada, Waba'ai, Slakia, Waba, Ayanaya, Masha, Ra'ai, Waya Ama, Masha, Allah, Yahweh, Lama, Hara'aita, La'ai Badafka, Walama, La'a, Matazataya, Kana, Ba'ai, Yanayaka, Lashaman, Shalakia, Lashawama, Masha'a, Kal, Ha'aima, Hazaha, Ailaya, was 12, Ha'anakaya, Haraya, Kal, Ha'aima, Hazaha, Amma, Anayaka, Ya Yaladath, Ya Hawa, Kaya, Ta Amma, Aliyah, Sha'anawa, Bakaya, Kwaka, Ka'asha, Yashaya, Ha'aman, Hayanahwa, Ha'adam, Hashar, Na Shaba'aita, La Abba, Kayawa, Ma'ayan, Selaki verse 13. Ma'ayan, Laya, Bashar, Latata, Lakal, Ha'aima, Hazaha, Kaya, Yabakawa, Aya, La'ama, Tana, Lanawa, Bashar, Kal. That's it.
The book of Numbers 11 and verse 7. And the manna was as core the seed, and the color thereof as the color of del young. And the people went about and gathered it and ground it in mills, or beat it in a mortar, and baked it in pans, and made cakes of it. And the taste of it was as the taste of fresh oil. And when the dew fell upon the camp in the night, the manna fell upon it. Then Moses heard the people weeping throughout their families, every man in the door of his tent. And the anger of the Most High was kindled greatly. Moses also was displeased. And Moses said unto the Most High, Wherefore hast thou afflicted thy servant? And wherefore have I not found favor in thy sight, that thou layest the burden of all this people upon me? Have I conceived all this people? Have I begotten them, that thou shouldest say unto me, Carry them in thy bosom, as a nursing father beareth the suckling child, unto the land which thou sworest unto their fathers. Whence should I have flesh to give unto all these people? For they wept unto me, saying, Give us flesh that we may eat.
There's a lot of people. You understand? And this is classic. This is why when we say that the Bible is a black mark, you actually mean it. And it's true. Because when you look at the language, when you look at how Moses is speaking it, you understand, it's very plain to see and understand. You understand how, the attitude and the nation, you understand, is at that time. And it's very similar to how it is today. You understand, when you have a group of people and you're actually taking them out of slavery, taking them out of trouble. At the slightest thing, you understand, they start to complain. And that is basically what happened here with Moses. The nation of Israel at that time started to complain. They started complaining about the leeks and the garlic and the watermelon. They doesn't eat. No problem. They bring manna. The Most High sent manna. So they get the manna, they grind it, they mill it, they start to make bread to eat. They say it tasting like fresh oil. You understand? They find that ain't good enough. They start complaining now and say we want meat to eat. And Moses, in his frustration, and when you look at the position Moses was in, it's almost like you could say, how could you blame him? Because we have thousands upon thousands of people coming to complain to Moses. You understand? The leaders of each of these families come and say, well, we want some meat and we can't eat this manna whole day and whole night. And they start to complain. And when you look at how it's structured, when the Moses saw the anger, or the Moses was angered by this complaint, because it showed how ungrateful, you understand, the nation of Israel was at that time. And just because they didn't have certain things to eat for a period of time in the wilderness. And we can see here where Moses also got angry. And the same Moses wept to the Most High. You understand? And verse 11 says that Moses said unto the Lord, wherefore hast thou afflicted thy servant? So he basically said, Lord, why you do me this? You understand? If you put it into today's slang, he's telling you, Lord, why you do me this? You understand? Whereas hast thou afflicted thy servant? And where have I not found favor in thy sight? He's saying, well, what I do? What else you want me to do again? You understand? I do everything you ask me to do. You understand? And I found favor in your sight. I do everything and it's pleasing to you. You understand? What that thou layest the burden of all. Have I conceived these people? He's saying, them is my children. Them is not my children. Maybe that's what he's saying. When he say, have I conceived all these people? He's saying, I didn't make them. You understand? He said, I have not begotten them, that thou hast said unto me, carry them in thy bosom as a nursing father bear the suckling child. Them are my children, me and baby them, me and get them no breast. You understand? That's what he's saying. I didn't mind them since they're small, but I get in all their problem and all their trouble. You understand? And this is what Moses, was getting to. And, praying to the Most High, he basically complaining himself to the Most High, saying, well, what you want me to do? You understand? I know if you had anything to say.
And what is going to something, real heavy as well. And by example, and it's showing now that how heavy of a burden it is, to lead a nation and to lead a people. And as you bring it out there now, it just reflect back now, on King Yahawashi.
That's right.
Making mention just before, when he seen that going to come upon him. So when he said, Lord, to be, to take away this burden from me. And then he said, let us go through this now, because now to be a leader that head over the nations that they will be coming to you. This is of sitting in that seat, and doing work at the Most High. And again, when you really look back and you reflect back again, and you see that the work that Commanding General Yahanna have been holding on this truth since 69 and 69, passed down from the elders, and you see, and you see, this is just a reflection on what is taking place now. Brothers come in, bringing their complaints before the generals and bringing their complaints, and we're going to read on down. We're going to see where the Most High again, set up men in that same spirit, to relieve that burden offer the minds of Moses. And we're bringing about something very important, and we must pay attention at the sitting in the seat that the Most High, ordained you to be in, to look over people. These is the complaints that is going to be, brought forth. But now, what mindset you have to be? Must it be in that same spirit, that same mind? Just like any good father, a child bring a complaint to you. Now, you will be angry at that point in time, but now you must be able now to deal with the situation.
That's right.
And must be able to foresee and to know how, as we say, treat the situation in the most righteous way, in the most, I would say, truth, to solve that situation.
That's right. That's right, Christ. So we continue reading. The book of Numbers, chapter 11 and verse 14. La'a, Awaka, Anayakaya, Labadaya, La Shakata, Kal, Ha'aima, Hazaha, Kaya, Kabah, Naya, verse 15. Wa'ama, Kakaya, Salaka Kaka, Aisha, Leya, Haraganaya, Na'a, Haraga, Amma, Mataza'ataya, Khan, Ba'aya, Nayaka, Wa'ala, Aran, Bara'aitaya, verse 16. Waya Amma, Yahweh, Allah, Masha, Asapa, Laya, Shaba'ayam, Ayash, Mazakwanaya, Yasha'ala, Ashar, Yada'aitha, Kaya, Zakwanaya, Ha'aima, Washatarayam, Salakia, Washatarayawa, Walakwakath, Atam, Allah, Ahal, Mawa'aida, Wakata, Yatazaw, Bawa, Sham, I Makah, is 17. Wayara, Dataya, Wadaba, Rataya, I Makah, Sham, Wa'ataza, Lataya, Mana, Arawaka, Asha, Ailayaka, Washamataya, Ail, Yaham, Wanasha'awa, Tha Ataka, Bamasha, Ha'aima, Wala'a, Tha Aisha, La Badaka, verse 18. Wa'ala, Tha Amma, Hatakwad, Makara, Kalta, Salakia, Wa'akalata, Bashar, Kaya, Bakayatam, Ba'azanaya, Yahweh, La'ama, Maya, Yakala, Nawa, Bashar, Kaya, Tawab, Lanawa, Bamatazariam, Wanatan, Yahweh, Lakam, Bashar, Wa'akal, Salakia, Wa'akalatam, verse 19. La'a, Yawam, Akal, the Akalawan, Wala'a, Yawamayam, Wala'a, Kamash, Yam, Wala'a, I Shara, Yam, Wala'a, I Sharayam, Yawam, Verse 20, Ida, Chadash, Yam Yam, Ida, Ashar, Yetazah, Ma'apakam, Wahayaha, Lakam, Lazara'a, Ya'aina, Kaya, Ma'asatham, Yahweh, Ashar, Bakoraba Yakam, Wathbakawa, Lapanyawa, La'ama, Lama, Zaha, Yataza Awan, Salakia, Yataza Anawa, Mamatazaria.
The book of Numbers 11 and verse 14. I am not able to bear this people alone, because it is too heavy for me. And if thou deal thus with me, kill me, I pray thee, out of hand it, if I have found favor in thy sight, and let me not see my wretchedness. And the Most High said unto Moses, Gather and the Most High said unto Moses, Gather unto me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom thou knowest to be elders of the people, and officers over them, and bring them unto the tabernacle of the congregation, that they may stand there with thee. And I will come down and talk with thee there, and I will take of the Spirit which is upon thee, and will put it upon them, and they shall bear the burden of the people with thee, that thou bear it not thyself alone. And say thou unto the people, Sanctify yourselves against tomorrow, and ye shall eat flesh, for ye have wept in the ears of the Most High, saying, Who shall give us flesh to eat? For it was well with us in Egypt. Therefore, the Most High will give you flesh, and ye shall eat. Ye shall not eat 1 day, nor 2 days, nor 5 days, neither 10 days, nor 20 days, but even a whole month, until it come out of your nostrils, and it be loathsome unto you, because that ye have despised the Most High, which is among you, and have wept before him, saying, Why came we forth out of Egypt?
Yes, Salakia, so go ahead.
Again, we see the Most High now, again, as any good father, and that's why we always, like the Most High and that father, and you being that child, and as you was brought out earlier, good stiff neck, stiff heart, we stubborn, rebellious. All right, no problem, all our flesh, I'll give all the flesh. And as continue in verse 16, and the Most High said unto Moses, Gather unto me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom thou knowest to be elders of the people, and officers over them, and bring them unto the tabernacle of the congregation, that they may stand there with thee. So now he's going to again bring men in the same like-minded, or as we see the same spirit or the same vibe that Mosai and Moses now, seeing, they would see the same thing and they would understand that understanding that what is taking place now, because now these men is elders and now people look up to them as well. So now it's not just Moses talking, it's these 70 men as well talking as the voice at the Most High, as the voice, just as as we make mention that we are just vessels, and we being vessels, we now speaking the thing that is passed down from our elders, from, as you say, that order, that structure. 1 Corinthians 11:3. That order never changed, that structure never changed.
That's right.
So this is the same thing that the men in the I.S.U.P.K, Commanding General GEN.YAHANNA, from the elders, come straight down. We're not speaking anything different from where our forefathers lay down, from where our King Yahushua lay down.
That's right.
And this is what we see here right now. And as read on down now, we go down to verse 19. Ye shall not eat 1 day, nor 2 days, nor 5 days, neither 10 days, nor 20 days, but even a whole month. So he tell me, I ain't go feed all the per day for 2 days, as scripture, 10 days, 5 days, 10 days, 20 days, but I will feed all the for a whole month. And in that whole month, but even a whole month, until it come out of your nostril. So it's showing alright, all they want to complain, all they want meat, all they want flesh, I'll give all the flesh. But notice, all they are eating it. All they have to eat when I give all they eat, because they're complaining, all they want flesh. Right? And he said, because thou hast despised, the Most High, which is among you, because now the Most High now, as we say, they're feeding and then, taking care of them since, as you say, coming out of Egypt, since in Egypt, looking after them. Now, here we see, and have wept before him, saying, why came we forth out of Egypt? And again, not having, again, that respect. And now I speak that say the Most High no respect that person. Because now if we do again acknowledge and understand that the Most High is a provider, and as you say, I've been giving you your daily bread.
That's right.
Then now, what else that they don't understand? And this is why we always make mention that these religious leaders, these Christian pastors, all these are again religion on a whole. They don't know these records, they don't understand these records. Because why? Because if they had understand these records, they would not have been teaching blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to lust after things that they would, to go for things that that would destroy the flesh, that will destroy, as I say, their livelihood, and will destroy them or keep them in sin and keep them from not honoring or following the ways that the Most High laid before us. Right? So I need to
Being provided this in Christ. Right? And with that, that brings us to the end of the service. We will sit and Majum.
SHALAM to Israel.
Majam of Yahweh down, if you rise that face the east, Sa, which means to turn. We'll see the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Abanawa, Shamashamayim, Kodash, Yah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakaka, Taba'a, Zaka, Yah, Aishan, Baratza, Kuwa, Hayah, Ashumayim, Lekan, Lanawa, Lekan, Ka, Yawan, Wasalakno, Kawatno, Kasalakno, Kawatino, again now, Sayawan, God, Yan, Right, Yah, Aka, Amalakwa, Wa'ala.
English, our Father,
that in heaven, thy name, will be done in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day daily bread. We forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil. Amatia, Aka, Irakawa, Amata Al, Garashan, Mashem, Yoshai, Wada Amata.
in English, Yahweh.
Yahweh, name of Yahushua. Please give us the power or the heat, all manner of sickness, all manner of disease, or the cleanse the leper, or the reason dead, or the unclean spirits, cast them out. Name of Yahushua. Thank you. So be it. You want to say the blessed Israel? Barakatah Yahweh, wa Yahushua, wa Maka'ala, wa Alahaya, wa Zaria. Alawap Yahan, Alawap Yahan, Asarani, Akapazan Yan, Akayan Yan, Wati, Hawa, Hashem, Rashai, Wati.
In English, bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh, and Yahweh, and Michael, and Egypt, generals, captains, officers, troopers, and the citizens. Yahweh, name of Yahweh. Thank you. So bless Israel. Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Rakanawa, Yasha'al, Yah, Shapari, Rak, Rafa, Gun, Hashem, Yahushua, Yahushua.
In English, Yahweh,
name of Yahushua, bless us, and the school, bless, shield,
protect our loved ones,
name of Yahushua,
thank you,
so be it. Psalm 121 in Hebrew, Asha'ak, Yanya, Yahariyah, Ayat, Azariah, Mayam, Yahweh, Asha'ak, Shamayam, Aratis, Agatan, Yamawat, Ragalka, Ayanawan, Marka, Ana, La'a, Nawab, Wala'a, Yayashan, Shawama, Sha'al, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Aliyah, Yamyanta, Yawama, Ashuma, La'a, Yakaka, Wayara, Aliyah, Yahweh, Shamarka, Kalra, Shama, I.S.U.P.K, Yahweh, Shamaka, Tazahaka, Wabawaka, Ayata, I.W.A.
Psalms 121 in English. I will lift up my eyes unto the hills.
I will lift up my eyes into the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
Coming from Yahweh.
My help comes from Yahweh,
which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
Not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy
He
foot
that
to be
keepeth
moved.
thee,
He that keepeth
will not
thee
slumber.
will not slumber.
He
Behold,
that keepeth Israel,
he that keepeth
shall
Israel
neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor
How
sleep.
is thy keeper?
Who is thy
How
keeper?
is thy shade?
Who is thy shade?
Upon thy right hand.
Upon thy right
The
hand.
sun shall not smite thee by day.
The sun shall not smite thee
nor
by
the
day.
moon by night.
Nor the moon by
Thou
night.
shalt preserve thee from all
Thou
evil.
shalt preserve thee from all
He
evil.
shall preserve thy soul.
Shall preserve thy soul.
Thou shalt preserve thy going out.
Shall preserve thy going
and thy
out.
coming in.
And thy coming
From
in.
this time forth.
This time forth.
Even forevermore.
Even forevermore. You will say Psalm 83 in Hebrew. Alahaya,
Alahaya,
Adamaya Lakar, Al Zakarash, Al Tashafat, Al Yahanna, Wayab Lakar, Yahama Yawan, Ma'ash, I.S.U.P.K, Iron Yawar, Sawadat, Wa'ayto, Aytazaw, Aytazaw1, Maro, Lakao, Wanakayadan, Magaria, Wala'a, Lazaka, Sham Yash'al, Alwada, Kiyat, our Itizawa, Laba, Yakaro, Al-Yaka, Maria, Yakarako, Ahalia, Adawam, Waya Shemai Alayam, Mawa'aba, Wahagarayam, Yabal, Wa'aimawan, Wa'aimalat, Halashah, Ayashabia, Kazawo, Gam Ashawo, Malawa, Ayawa, Zarawai, Labayalawa, Salah, Aishalaham, Kamadia, Kasayasara, Yabya, Wanakal, Koyashwan, Shamarwa, Ganyan, Arab, Hayawa, Daman, Wakazaba, Wakalda Zamanai, Hayawa, Daman, Adama, Tayaktamwa, Nadaya Mawa, Haira, Wakazaba, Wakalda Zamanai, Kama Saya Kamwa, Shah, Maro, Ayarasha, Nawa, Alahaya, Shayatamo, Kagalgala, Kakwash, Panera Waka, Alahaya, Shayatamo, Kagalgala, Kakwash, Panera Waka, Ash, Ira, Wakalahaba, Kalahat, Arayam, Kantara Dakma, Basaraika, Wabasa, Wapaka, Tamahala, Mala'a, Panyaham, Kualawa, Wayaba Kwasho, Shamka, Yahawa, Bashwa, Wayabaharo, Ai, Wayakaparo, Wayabaro, Wayadaiwa, Kayata, Shamka, Yahawa, Labaka, Aliyawan, Alkaha, Aratisa.
Psalm 23, the English. Keep not our silence.
Keep not silent.
We are
Hold
thy peace.
Hold thy peace.
Be not still.
Be not still.
O Yahweh. Thy enemies. Make it tomorrow. That hate thee. That lifted up the head. Taking crafty counsel. Against thy people. Consulted. Against thy hidden ones. Have said, come. Let us cut them off. Be the nation. The name of Israel. No one remember. For they have consulted together. One consent. They have conferred against the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites. Moab, Agri, Baal, Ammon, Amalek, the Philistines, the inhabitants of Tyre, also joined with them. Their husbands, the children of Lot, Salah, do unto them, unto the Midianites, the Syrians, Jabin, the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor, and became a dung for you, they and nobles, Sorin, yea, all the princes, Damuna, who said, let us take to ourselves the house of the Yahweh in possession, who might power, make them like a wheel, and the supper before the wind, the fire burning into wood, and the flame set the mountain fire. So persecute them. With thy tempest, make them afraid. With thy sword, fill their faces with shame. They may seek thy name. O Yahweh, let them be confounded. Trouble forever. Yea, let them be put to shame. Perish. Men may know, and thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, the Most High over all. Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Heaven and earth.
King of heaven and earth.
All things living.
All things living.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
The name of Yahweh.
The name of Yahweh.
Listen to us now.
Listen to us
right
now. Right now.
Evils and curses.
Evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
Punishment and destruction.
The heathen.
The heathen.
Speak against us.
Speak against
the prophets.
us. The prophets.
The teachers.
The
princes,
the
priests, the Israelite brothers, and the schools, and evils and curses, punishment and destruction, the heathen, and shake loose, because of the rich of Israel, and refuse to give to the schools, force their riches, enter into thy sanctuary, evils and curses.
He was a curse.
Punishment and destruction.
Punishment and
To
destruction.
the Edomites.
The Edomites.
And the nation.
The nation.
And the drug dealers.
And the drug dealers.
The court system.
Court system.
The prison system.
Prison system.
Planned Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood.
All the government of enemies.
All the government of enemies.
Election of
Election of Gonzalo.
Roman Catholic Church.
Roman Catholic Church.
The Pope.
Pope.
Islam. Christianity. Egyptology.
Militia.
Islam.
Islam.
Nation. Skinhead. Game movement, lesbian, spies, because of witchcraft, that's a space program, army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, Wall Street, open up the internet, and the area, cable access channel, and the radio channel, give the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us, and bring swift destruction, all the heathen. That stand in the way, try to stop us from broadcasting your own, through all the planet, it's all the plagues, all the causes to go to and fro, through the earth, and consume them. Let the plagues take out of the teeth, and the murder, let your house, Michael, Gabriel, come down the flying saucer, and punish all the heat, come up against us, as we speak thy word, cause to be known by all, the angels that have done it, cause to be spread through the media, through the whole world, cause them to shake at thy coming, name of Yahushua. Thank you all. So be it.
Sir. But of Israel, let's give a quick salute. I want you to back. Rock. Yahweh Hashem Yashai Rakata. Yamata. Class dismissed. Yeah. Yeah. Amen. Yeah. Come on. Yeah, right out.